Welcome to Megazord Radio. It's the show where we recap and rank episodes of the Power Rangers television franchise. I am your host, Riely, of course, joined by my wonderful co-host, the one, the only, the British, it's Nightster.
Yes, hello. That felt like a wrestling introduction.
It's
Hello.
the British Avenger coming into the ring.
The Dark Nightster.
Throw a bunch of crumpets in the air and then flex.
Just chuck tea bags everywhere. Drink Fiji tips.
Sponsored by Lipton. Hold on, my connection's getting fucked up. God damn it.
Oh no.
Okay, we'll see if that holds up. Nope, it's doing it again, but am I cutting out?
No, I can't hear any cutting out.
Okay, well, I guess let me know if you do, because Discord keeps telling me that my connection is red for a second. So, oh god, I'm already getting hot. Last week, you may have noticed, I tried to noise cancel it, but it's still in there a little bit. You may have noticed that my air conditioner was just getting super hot, like the whole time. So I tried to fix it, but as a result, there's a little bit of distortion in our voices, so the episode doesn't sound the best. So I'm trying to record without the AC. The problem is, it is summer in Florida. So that is not a sustainable business model. I was hoping, since it's early in the morning, like I might be okay. It's early in the morning. The AC's been on for hours. But nope. I'm already sweating 2 minutes in. So I'm going to be a fucking swamp creature by the end of this. I don't even know why I'm doing it to myself, because I know I'm not going to be able to do the same for any other podcast. So why do it for this one? But I just decide to torture myself every once in a while for the art. It's fine.
It's for you guys.
It's for you, the listener. For you, the listener of Megazord Radio. All my other shows, fuck them. Who cares? Megazord Radio, this is the good shit. This is the premium, primo content right here. Because fuck comedy. Only Power Rangers. Power Rangers is the only thing that matters. And speaking of Power Rangers is the only thing that matters, it's actually not the only thing that matters today. So this is a first here on Megazord Radio, where we try to keep our multi-parters together, which means if we so happen to land, if our next two episodes so happen to be a one-off and a part one, we then have to only talk about the one-off in the next episode. And we talked about 2 episodes last week, and the episode was still 40 minutes long. It's so. I was thinking about it, and I was like, what can we do to artificially increase the length of this podcast? And I was like, this is the last time Bryan Cranston appears in Power Rangers until the 2017 movie. So maybe I should force Nightster to watch Breaking Bad just so we could compare his 5-second performance in this episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to his performance in Breaking Bad. And then also we watched Doctor Who, because Nightster was not willing to watch Breaking Bad unless I gave him something. So Doctor Who has nothing to do with this episode, but we're talking about it anyway.
Hey, if I have to watch an hour-long episode of something, you can handle a 45-minute episode.
Was the pilot a full hour?
Yeah, the pilot was a full hour.
I forgot about that, genuinely. I thought it was 45 minutes like all the other ones.
No, that's an hour.
Shit. But regardless, we're going to front load Power Rangers so that if you want to just listen to the regular show how it usually is and get out of here, you can do that. And then we'll move on to the other stuff. So I realize now that I'm not even a little bit prepared. Where the fuck is my phone that I need to read the wiki article? I don't even know where it is.
How many times have we done this?
What the fuck? Why did I do this? Where's my phone?
Why didn't you get this beforehand?
I usually do. I don't know what came over me. Is it out there? Hold on. entertain the audience.
I don't know how.
You could also just shut up. That's fine too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said that for the joke. All right, guys, I admit it. I was just kidding. There was no actual silence there. It was all a bit. It was all a trick. I had my phone the whole time, of course. There was no pause in the podcast. We just pretended there was a pause in the podcast.
Yeah, that's all this was.
Yeah.
One big giant thing that we discussed before we recorded. We
Yeah,
were like, hey,
big prank. Wouldn't it be funny if I pretend to be a fucking idiot? It would be great.
haven't got to pretend for that.
That's true. This is season 1, episode 38 of Power Rangers, A Bad Reflection on You, written by Peggy Nicole, directed by Robert Hughes, aired November 27th, 1993. I love this episode so much.
Me too.
It's so good.
I mean, it's there's some obvious reasons why I love this episode.
And we'll get into them as we go, which I know the reasons, just for the audience. Uh, I immediately saw a certain thing in this episode. I was like, okay, Nightster's gonna like this one, huh?
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah. So we start on the moon with Rita, and she's like, I got Twin Man and 4 putties, and they're gonna go to Earth, and they're gonna be the Power Rangers, and they're gonna ruin the Power Rangers' reputation. They're gonna just trash it and make everybody think the Power Rangers are mean and bad. So that's the plan. Twin Man turns into Jason. The other 4 putties turn into the other 4 in their civilian forms. But of course, there has to be. You have to know they're evil somehow. So they all have sunglasses.
And they're dressed like your basic ass punk from the 90s.
Yeah, they're straight up punkers. Not as aggressively as Billy and Kim were in Power Ranger Punks, I guess, but they're more subtle punkers this time.
Oh, and there's a callback to that as well. I wonder if you caught it.
Because both versions of Punk Kimberly both want to fuck Skull.
Yeah. Or more like
So
Skull wanted to fuck both versions of Punk Kim, and both of them
true,
reciprocated.
exactly. Uh, so they go to Angel Grove High. They're walking down the they're walking down the hallway with various tools, just hanging out, looking all buff and badass. Even Billy's got like a tank top on, showing off his muscles, which is actually rare because they try to hide how yoked Billy is in season 1 because he's supposed to be the nerd.
He's fucking ripped.
He's ripped as hell. But yeah, so they got a bunch of tools. Turns out they got these tools because they're going to pry the top off of the water fountain, put a bunch of detergent in there, so that when somebody goes to have a drink in the fountain, it just like explodes with suds. So nice juvenile delinquent prank from this evil monster.
Yeah.
You think he just like beat the shit out of Principal Kaplan? He's a monster.
He's like, nah. Hey, do you want to be up under principal and other students? Nah, let's mess with the water fountain.
Yeah, so they do a little prank. Bulk and Skull notice this, and they're like, "Wait, what's happening? What are they doing? These guys?" So they walk up to them. Skull asks out Kim to watch the submarine races, which I don't think is a real thing that happens in the world.
No, I've never heard of that before in my life.
And Kim was like, "Sure thing, sweet lips," and it's like, and Skull's like, and Skull and Bulk look at each other like, "Really?"
Bulk's like, how did you manage that? And he's like, I have no
I don't
idea.
know. But Mr. Cat, I will say, this is another example of me talking about later in the show. But I will say, I just want to say this early so I don't forget. This is something that sets up some character development for Kim way down the line, because initially in season 1, whenever this happens, she is very like unapologetic to Skull and is like, get real creep. But in season 3, when there's a love potion plot and Kim gets love potioned for Skull, she's very apologetic about it. So it's character development.
Oh, we love some character development for Kim.
Shout out to Kim, the best actor on the show by a country mile.
Yeah, true.
She really, it will get obvious over time. Like right now, she's still new to it, but it's already obvious that she's the most besides maybe Paul Schreier and Jason Narvey. Like they're national treasures, they're comedic gold. I think she surpasses them eventually, but I think right now she probably is not. But out of the Power Rangers, she's definitely the top actress already. And once we get to season 3, it's just like I've said this before, but like it is the Kimberly show, and it just becomes like a better written and acted show because it's the Kimberly show.
Which I'm looking forward to, because I do like Kim. She's a great character.
But anyway, we got to talk about these punkers and their silly little water fountain prank. So of course the victim of said prank is good old Mr. Kaplan.
Yeah.
And he gets all squirted with all these suds and stuff, and they're just raining, and he's slipping all over the floor, and it's getting all over his toupee. The Vulcan Skull theme is playing as he's slipping and failing. And Trini's just like, gotcha. And Mr. Kaplan's like, detention!
Detention! It's like a sitcom.
Yep. And then the imposters are just like, yeah, and they leave. Oh, as fake Zach says, I really cleaned up.
Yeah.
And then immediately as the imposters exit, it's literally like a fucking perfect circle where the imposters walk down the hall and then the real ones walk right in from the other side.
Yeah.
And they're immediately like, oh no, something's happened to Mr. Kaplan. Let's go help him because we're good and nice. And they go to help him up, and Billy's like, Mr. Kaplan, can we help you? Mr. Kaplan's like, detention now! And they're like, what?
We didn't do anything.
I'm sorry, I won't offer to help you up when you fall in the future. I didn't know.
I didn't know you hated help.
Yeah. So they get sent to the fucking detention with Bulk and Skull. And Mr. Kaplan's like, you better stay here. He leaves them unattended, but he's secretly patrolling the hall. I wonder if that's how detention really works. Does the teacher leave the kids in the room? That doesn't seem like a good idea.
I can attest that it is not how that works.
Okay, yeah, I figured as much. Because I never got detention because I was a good boy.
I was a terrible student.
I was a terrible student in terms of grades, but I was a nice guy.
It's because I never handed any homework. That's why.
Well, I guess I was technically in detention, but they didn't call it detention. They had like they invented this weird thing where they gaslit you into thinking it was helping you. So how it worked was, it was I believe they called it more time was the concept, and they sold it as like, hey, sometimes you don't have time to do your homework. We get it. You can come in to more time during your lunch and have more time to do your homework. But the problem was, if you had missed any assignments at all, more time was mandatory. So it was not a helpful system, actually. It was just a punishment system. And I spent years spending my lunch and more time every fucking day.
Oh, that does not sound fun.
Sometimes they would forget to round me up for more time, and it would be the best day ever. I'd get to actually have lunch and go to fucking recess. Sometimes they would notice during recess after I'd already had lunch, and that would be bad for me. But it's like, I don't think I ever got in trouble, because it's like, it is your job to tell me whether I have to do more time or not, technically. So it's not really my fault that you didn't. For all I know, you're just giving it to me easy today, and you've done that on purpose.
That's on you, buddy.
Exactly. So yeah, that was a fun period of my life. That was also where the most bullshit thing happened to me that ever has happened to me in the history of time. So people were having a little bit too much fun in wartime. It was not like hectic and fun or anything. It was just like, we'd sit there, we'd be doing our work, and maybe we'd have some casual chats. There'd be some echo of quiet, diligent voices throughout the room, having a casual chat as they did their homework. It never got too rowdy or anything. But even though they continue to sell this thing as something that is good for you and is there to help you, they're like, oh, these kids are enjoying themselves even a little in more time, unacceptable. So they put a moratorium on any talking at all. And at some point, I was sitting near one of my friends, and his phone rang, or a phone rang, and I was like, I whispered like, "Is that your phone?" And he said no. And then the teacher who was watching said like his name was Carson. She said Carson intervention, which is like a write up. It's a different thing they call like a referral or a write up. I don't know what they call it there. But she's like, Carson, intervention. And I turned and I'm like, he only talked because I talked to him. She's like, okay, you get one too. And it's like, okay, first of all, the fact that I fessed up right there probably should have motivated you to not do that to me. But then the kicker, Nightster, is
Yeah.
later in the same more time session some kid was just talking up a storm on purpose. No reason for it. Just doing it for fun. And but he was trying to be subtle about it, and she came to him and she's like, "Were you talking?" And he was like, "Yes." And she's like, "Okay, since you were honest, I won't write you up." Are you fucking kidding
What
me?
the
I wasn't
hell?
even accused, and I was honest.
What the fuck?
Are you fucking serious?
That's bull.
I know. I don't even. I think she was just like. I talked to her about it later. She was just like she was trying to be tough. Like she was new to the whole cracking down on talking thing. She didn't want us to think she was a pushover. And she just like didn't think about it. She was kind of moving from moment to moment. She did feel bad when I brought it up to her, but it was complete bullshit.
You fucking A, it's bullshit.
But regardless, the Power Rangers are in detention now.
Yeah, the Power
Um,
Rangers.
yeah. And meanwhile, Twin Man and the Twin Rangers are now morphed, and they're just shooting up Angel Grove. Nightster, where did they get blade blasters and power weapons?
Uh, maybe that's part of whatever his fucking name is, his
Twin Man,
powers. Twin Man's powers, yeah. He can just mirror weapons as well, I guess.
I guess so. But yeah, so the real Power Rangers and Bulk and Skull are in detention. Skull's like, "Are we still on for tonight?" And Kim's like, "Get real."
Get
um,
real.
and Bulk, Bulk then takes out his lunchbox. And he's like, "Let's see what Mom packed you for detention today." My
I take it
man,
here's our little Doctor Who relevance. His
because he has
lunchbox
an endless
is like
bag.
a fucking TARDIS. Like, jeez, how did that all fit in there?
Yeah, so he pulls out like an entire fucking like monster-sized hoagie and like condiment bottles and like other various sandwiches and snacks and such and a soda and all just sorts of shit. Does he pull out literally a picnic table or am I inventing that?
I don't think he pulls out a picnic table.
I thought he did for a minute because I also thought that the blindfold that he was wearing was the picnic cloth from the picnic table, but I think I'm just inventing that detail. He should have. That's how I would have written the joke.
Let me go back and check because he might have done. Uh, bad reflection on you. Make sure it's muted so the audio doesn't bleed
I feel like
through.
he did pull out like some sort of absurd thing that wasn't food, and the blindfold he was wearing did look like a picnic blanket.
It did look like a picnic blanket. I do remember that much. Uh, okay, so he's got his bag. He pulls out a fucking TV.
Well, yeah, I knew that. I remember
But
that. That's after this.
later on, he pulls out a TV. But
That's
Okay.
a different
So,
bag. He has two endless bags.
okay. So the first one, the very first thing he pulls out is the tablecloth on its own.
Oh, okay, okay. So he has like a picnic blanket ready to just put over the desks and create his own picnic table. Okay.
Yeah. He's got bread, cake, uh, a baguette, or or a Subway sandwich even,
Yeah, I think it's like a giant Subway sandwich. Yeah.
pineapple, more breads and cakes, ketchup, mustard, a can of like Sprite or something. More things I can't even see, but they're kind of small. There's a lot of them though.
And then Skull asks him for something, and he just gives him his soda out of all of that.
I'd be happy with the soda as well, to be honest. Like, fucking sodas are good.
I mean, yeah, that's fair, but like, I don't know. If I was like loyal best friends with somebody, and I forgot to pack a lunch for detention, and they pulled out like an entire banquet for a wedding, I might be a little offended. Like, even if it was like the soda and one little sandwich, like the like some food item out of all of that.
Yeah.
The banana. Give him the fucking banana.
Or like one of your 12 bits of bread.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's going on. Eventually, he pulls out a TV to watch some cartoons. Um,
It's a bit later.
yeah. Oh, is it? Did we cut away again before? No, no, no. I think we do the lunchbox. It's just kind of we stay in the school for a while, and we're kind of lingering there. At some point, Kim tries to like walk out because she sees that Kaplan left, but then Kaplan brings her back. That was after the TV because he pulls out the TV, he puts on a cartoon, and he's watching this cartoon, and suddenly the cartoon is interrupted by a special news report that is about how the Power Rangers have turned on Angel Grove and are attacking the city.
Which,
So,
speaking of, before any
mhm.
of that happens, we do cut to the evil Rangers actively
I
destroying the
did, I
city.
I did say I thought that all happened at once, but maybe there is like a transition. But yeah, they were there, they were morphed, and they're attacking the city, shooting at people and stuff. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going on. The Power Rangers have forsaken us. Then Jason does the classic secret identity trope, which I think this is actually the first time this happens ever. Like, I'm actually shocked it took this long, because Jason's like, I mean, the Power Rangers would never do that.
Honestly, I'm shocked that Bulk and Skull didn't like.
It
Uh,
helps that they're Bulk
uh,
and Skull.
yeah, like it's like they're Bulk and Skull. They're fucking dumb. They're really dumb.
Man, I'm so glad they've fully reached the point where they're funny. I need them to reach to the point where they're better people, and then the transformation is complete.
Yeah.
Like, they've stopped being like weird and rapey. Now they're just really good slapstick comedy. And then next season they get to grow as people. So that's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, it will be. I can't wait for that.
But so yeah, they're trying to figure out how to sneak out. Trini suggests that they just morph, but obviously they can't do that in front of Bulk and Skull. But eventually they realize that's kind of their only option. So Zach has an idea, and he's like, "Hey guys, you see a magic trick?" And Skull's like, "Sure," like enthusiastically and nicely, and Bulk's like, "Yeah, why don't you show us something we never seen before?"
It
Uh,
sounds a bit weird, to be honest.
so Zach's like, "I can make us disappear." And they're like, "Sure, whatever." And he's like, "Close your eyes, cover your ears, count to 10." Which is I guess teleportation makes a sound. I was gonna say, is the color covering the ears necessary? Because they didn't have to morph there. They could have teleported to the command center and morphed there. And also maybe ask Sordon, "Hey, why is us attacking the city real quick?"
Yeah.
But
But
instead, they just morph right away, and go right after the evil Power Rangers as Bulk and Skull are blindfolded, covering their ears, counting backwards from 10, but they don't know how to do that because they're Bulk and Skull. So they keep counting back up and repeating the same numbers a million times.
7, 7, 7.
I
I
think
think
they
it's
do
mostly
say 7
Skull.
like 3 times in a row.
I think it's mostly Skull, yeah.
Yeah. So they morph. They go after the fake Power Rangers. Scorpina's also there. So the Rangers start fighting. They're using their power weapons. Slowly but surely, they start to take down the evil Power Rangers one by one in a series of epic combat. And they turn back into putties. And then finally, once all the putty ones are felled, we get a nice one-on-one duel between Jason and Twin Man as Jason. And eventually, that of course also ends with the real Jason winning, and the real Twin Man is revealed, and we get to hear Bryan Cranston, who this is now that you've seen Bryan Cranston's work in live action, his voice acting range is actually quite impressive because that does not sound like Bryan Cranston, but I know it is.
I did not know that was Bryan Cranston,
It certainly was. That
which is
was
why
Walter White.
I was really confused as to why you'd asked me to watch Breaking Bad of all things,
Twin Man
but
was voiced by Walter White.
now it makes sense.
This has happened once before in the season. Snizzard was also voiced by Walter White.
Yeah.
He was he did a couple monsters in season 1. He was buddies with Saban because I think he was doing anime dub work at the time, and Saban was dubbing a lot of anime. So he was at Saban Studios for that. So he did a couple monsters for Power Rangers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But so yeah, now Twin Man is revealed, and then they use the Power Blaster to kill Twin Man and also Nightster.
Yeah, you made me of that one as well, yeah.
Taking down 2 birds with one stone there.
Because
Yeah, they
normally,
go ahead.
sorry, I normally, I'm with the Power Blaster, I just look away because of the epilepsy, but and they hadn't used it in a while, so I kind of forgot that it was a thing.
And even if you hadn't forgot, usually when they fire the power blaster, that strobe effect is on the screen for 1 second and then the monster explodes. When they did it this time, the first strobe effect was already on screen way longer than it ever was previously. And then we cut to Twin Man, and then we cut back to the strobing effect, and then we cut to Twin Man, and then we cut back to the strobing effect. They do it 3 times.
Yeah, it like that wasn't fair.
They really had it out for you today.
That was murder on epileptics.
Did we get nicer this time? No, one more time. One more. Ah, fuck it. We tried.
Oh well, we did our best.
We did our best. So, Twin Man dies. No Zord fight this week. Making up for 2 episodes ago when it was all Zord fight.
Yeah.
And the news and some passersby happen to be watching the fight. So they clear the Power Rangers name. The Power Rangers are heroes again. And all is well with the world. But not with Rita. She's got a headache, obviously.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. And then we go back to Angel Grove High. Bulk and Skull still cannot find. They're like looking in the cabinets to see like if they've hidden somewhere. And they're like, where the fuck did they go? And then Bulk's like, what if? Or I think Skull says, what if? What if we turn those goody goods in? And Bulk's like, yes. So they go to Mr. Kaplan and they're like, hey, Mr. Kaplan, the goody goods split. And Mr. Kaplan's like, really? Which is weird because Kimberly tries to split and gets caught by Mr. Kaplan. So it is actually kind of strange that Kaplan is skeptical.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I don't believe you. They're like, Scout's honor, we promise. And he's like, okay, but if they're in there, you're getting detention until you're 50. And they're bantering, and as we hear Kaplan and Bulk and Skull bantering, we also hear the teleportation noise. So we know that the Power Rangers have returned, and they scramble to get back in their desks. Which, let me do some work for Power Rangers here, because I had a question and then I answered it for myself with logic. So you might be asking yourself, if you're like me, you might see that scene and ask yourself, hey, were they convinced that Bulk and Skull were still going to be blindfolded? Why did they just teleport right back in? But I have to assume the show just didn't bother showing this to. I have to assume they went back to the command center, looked at the classroom through the viewing globe, and saw that Bulk and Skull were not in there at the current moment. That's the only way it makes sense. But they probably should have showed that.
Yeah, that did confuse me, I'll be honest.
I assume it was viewing globe assisted, but we don't get to see that part.
Most likely.
But the Power Rangers, they scramble, they sit down. Bulk and Skull directs Mr. Kaplan into the classroom. They're sitting there with their hands folded like good little church boys, and they're like, "Good afternoon, Mr. Kaplan." Like a fucking orphanage from like a creepy movie where like they're all in unison. "Good afternoon, Mr. Kaplan."
Good afternoon, this is Burger Biff. Whatever the fuck I would have said.
But yeah, that's the end. Oh, Bulk and Skull. The one more thing. So Bulk and Skull are like, guys, how'd you do that? Like, really, how'd you do that? Come on. And like, they're all just ignoring him as they walk out. And Zach's the last one to walk out. And Bulk's like, come on, Zach, tell me. And then Zach just like taps him on the stomach and is like, get a life, and walks out.
Yeah. Get a life.
Get a life. And that's the episode.
It ends with Zax telling Bulk to get a fucking life.
Now we have to talk about favorite character, and this is the most Sophie's choice I've had yet, because I really want to give it to Bulk, and I really want to give it to Zach.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a tough choice, but I think I know mine.
Holy shit, this is aside, but the back of my chair, no AC update, the back of my chair is fucking glistening. I just stood up.
I mean, it makes sense that it would, but jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm in a rough way around here. This is my endurance
viewers,
challenge.
our viewers need to know.
They need to know the suffering I'm going through for our art.
Yeah,
But who's your favorite character?
it's Zach. Uh, he was the one that said, and that came up with the idea to have Bulk and Skull blindfold themselves and cover their own ears so they could teleport and deal with the thing. And he told Bulk to get a life. So I
Yeah,
feel
that
like
line was so good.
it has to be him for me.
I'm
How about
almost
you?
tempted to give it. I'm almost tempted to give it to Zach too, just because Get a Life is so funny. But I did love them pretty much equally in this episode. Since you gave it to Zach, I would like them to both get credit, so I'll go ahead and give it to Bulk.
Fair enough. That makes a lot of
Which is
sense.
actually 2 episodes in a row for me picking Bulk.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, because I gave it to him for Cleanup Club too.
That's fun.
Bulk, the world's greatest guy. I still love that bit.
The world's greatest guy.
What about your favorite scene, Nightster?
This should come as no surprise. Considering I love anything Ranger versus Ranger, but I really liked how smart the putty was at the end. Well, not at the end, but like, you know the scene where um Trini is fighting her clone, and then she sees Kim struggle against hers.
Oh shit, we forgot to mention
And
that. Yeah, that was a really good scene.
yeah, and Kimberly um asks for Trini's help. So Trini jumps up, she kicks the clone aside and asks if Kim is okay. Turns out, that wasn't Kim. That was the clone. The clone said, "Trini, help," and
That is smart. That's pretty good.
that basically meant that Trini just kicked the shit out of Kim.
I have to assume Twin Man's powers also imbue you with intelligence because putties are not this smart.
They are not.
But yeah, that's pretty good. I think I there's no choice for me but to give it to the Punk Ranger scene where they fucking stroll into the school like a fucking Italian mobster gang and fucking fuck with the water fountain and, and start doing lines. Fucking Billy says "Hasta la pizza."
After that,
Fucking "Hasta la pizza."
what the fuck even is that?
And I will say, just congratulations to Zach and Volk because I came into this episode fully expecting to give favorite character to Evil Jason because I do love Evil Jason in the school scene. But Bulk and Zach were just so good this episode that they eclipsed him. But honorable mention to Evil Jason.
Yeah, he was great. Evil Jason was like peak. We're just getting started.
Now we got to rank it.
Which I honestly have no idea where this is gonna go because it is so good. But is it better than a lot of the episodes that we already have on?
Is it in the top 10? Is it better than Wheel of Misfortune?
Oh, Wheel of Misfortune is good.
Yeah, there's like the whole Rumpelstiltskin play. Like that's fun school stuff, which so is this, but like that was like more fun school stuff. I don't think it's better than Wheel of Misfortune, so it's not top 10.
Me either. Because like,
Um,
and that might
yeah,
also be Tommy bias because Tommy was in Wheel of Misfortune.
Tommy was in Wheel of Misfortune. That's true. Um, Foul Play in the Sky, the episode where Kim drives a plane.
Personally, I prefer this episode, but my mind could be changed if you think that that
Yeah,
episode was better than this.
I mean, I like Foul Play in the Sky. But a Bad Reflection on You is like very nostalgic for me. I really enjoy it. So yeah, I could put it above Foul Play in the Sky. So coming in at the new number 11, a Bad Reflection on You.
Very nice.
So that's it for our regular episode coverage. We do have a little bit more Power Rangers related content for you before we get into our completely unrelated bullshit that we planned today. Nightster, you went on a little adventure last weekend, didn't you?
I did last Saturday, and if anyone uh in the UK area, if anyone from there watches this channel, is familiar with last weekend, that is because that was the MCM London Comic Con, which I attended.
Nice.
And I have stories to tell.
Please, Nightster, regale us.
So it started with me, my dad, and my little sister. We went together, and we entered. I took a few pictures of some like cosplays around. At first, nothing that really stuck out, just some other franchise characters that I enjoyed. Until we saw the first cosplay, which I sadly do not have a picture of because of something that happened later. Which I haven't told you this, but it's fucking
Oh,
funny. Um, I did get a picture with the Green Ranger, like Mighty Morphin Green Ranger
oh,
cosplay,
sick.
but that photo is sadly lost.
Oh, what happened?
Well, you see, um, around lunchtime later in the day, we went outside to find a bench, sit down, eat our lunch, and the pictures were being taken on my dad's phone at the time because he could just send them to um a group chat. And once oh, we we were done, and he went over to the River Thames and held his phone up to take a picture of the view, and his arm hit the railing, which
No.
which caused his hand to jolt because he hit his funny bone. So his hand just flexed outwards, and his phone fell into the water. So all the pictures we took up until that point are gone.
Oh.
But I do have more pictures from after that point because I used my phone, which I did not let him hold. Um,
Probably a smart idea. Probably a good idea.
I met the YouTuber Tom Scar and Thomas Ridgewell. Funny guy. Um, really
I
nice as
love
well.
Tomska.
Yeah, I got a picture with him and his autograph, which
Oh, that's awesome.
he does both of those for free because he
That's so
makes
sweet.
his profit off of selling games and merch.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice of him. I'm glad. I'm glad you got a picture and an autograph from somebody
Yeah,
who was famous.
and I was really happy as well because I love his stuff so much.
Yeah, I'm like I'm jealous of you. I've been a Tonska fan for a long time. I had a phase where Ed's World was one of my autistic hyperfixations. Like I'm very familiar with Tonska.
Have you seen the two videos "Let Me In" and "Bad Director"?
I don't think I've seen Bad Director. I've seen Let Me In plenty of times, including with you once. But I've
Oh
not
yeah,
seen Bad Director.
I say no. The a Jehovah's Witness from "Let Me In."
Yeah.
I met him too.
Oh, that's cool.
He was at Tom Scar's signing.
That's fun.
Uh, so I got some photos with other cosplayers, which there's gonna be an Imgur link in the description, but I will name drop, I guess, some of the um like cosplayers that I managed to save.
Real quick, I
'Cause-
just want to say before you go into your list of Power Rangers you got pictures with, just to loop back to Tomska real quick. He was probably very happy to meet you because you're a fan of his comedy videos. I guarantee you, like more than half of the people who talked to him were talking to him about Ed's World, and he was not happy about that. Because I have to assume that happens to him every time he goes to a convention.
yeah, we talked a lot about his comedy videos.
Yeah, so he was just happy that you weren't talking about Ed's World.
Yeah, because I've never seen it, to be honest. So
Well, you should check it out. It is pretty good, and
yeah,
Tomska's one of the main characters in it. But yeah, that was he did that show for like years and years. That Ed died. That was the whole thing. Ed died of cancer, and Tomska had to like keep doing Ed's World. And it was a very stressful experience for him. And ultimately, he did like a proper ending for the show, and he quit. And the show still continues now, but Tom is voiced by a different guy, and Tomska is not associated with it. So I have to assume people are just like talking his ear off about Ed's World, and he's just ready to never hear about Ed's World again.
I'm guessing a lot of them were also talking about as this movie,
Yeah,
especially
that's the other
since
thing. Maybe more so than Ed's World, actually. Yeah, it's actually real bad for Tom Scott because he has two stupid viral things he's probably tired of hearing about.
oh, to be honest, his entire signing station
Full of
was just
Astif movie, I
as this
assume.
movie stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
think
was
he's
even
embraced. I think he's embraced Astif movie. Astif movie is not tied to the memory of his dead friend, so I think he's a little more candid about Astif movie.
yeah. So these are the pictures that I've saved onto my Discord, like personal Discord. Obviously, I think everyone is aware of the Spider-Man pointing meme.
Yeah,
I I was dressed as Wolverine, and I saw two people walking together, one dressed as Wolverine and one dressed as Laura in the Wolverine costume. So I approached them and asked if we could do the Spider-Man pointing meme with us three, and they gladly accepted. So we got
that's
that picture.
awesome. That's great.
Uh, Tom Scar, obviously. Oh, the first Power Ranger picture. Me with the Crimson Thunder Ranger. There's me and Hellboy.
Nice.
S- me and SPD Red, who wasn't wearing
Sick.
his helmet.
Ah.
He was holding it under his arm, but he wasn't wearing it.
Was it cultural appropriation? Was he white?
He was black.
Okay, good.
Mystique, because I can't be an X-Man and not get a photo with another X-Man.
Of course, of course.
There's just this one I won't share because it has my family in it. But there's a picture of me having a Costa with my cousin who was Wario, my other cousin who was Vaggy from Has Been Hotel, my sister, who was Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and my dad, who didn't dress up because he's into like some media stuff, but he's not big on events like this, so he didn't want to dress up.
That's fair.
I didn't get a picture with them, but I walked past two Daleks and I managed to get a photo of them. There's
Nice.
me with K9, and this one I've shown you because you said I found my man's, who I did. I got a picture with the white Dino Ranger.
Nice,
It was
nice.
as everyone who knows me knows, is my favorite Ranger of all time.
Yeah,
And
so
he's
I'm glad you
tall.
got that picture. That's pretty cool.
This guy is tall. This cosplayer, like bloody hell.
Oh, yeah, I guess I wasn't really paying attention, but yeah, he does kind of tower over you.
I mean, I'm not too tall myself. I'm 5'9", but
Short king.
I am sure I am comic accurate Wolverine.
Can you guess my height?
5'11",
Nope.
5'10".
You're going in the wrong direction.
You're 6 foot.
More.
6'2",
A little bit more.
6'3".
Yep.
Fuck yeah, now you're a giant. You are so tall.
I sure am.
Let me get a comparison image.
That's how I'm
Um,
400 pounds and can still walk and function as a human being.
I don't mean to like make a weight or offensive joke here, but it does remind me of a joke that I heard from a comedian, like a stand-up comedian.
Hmm.
Um, he was at a wedding, and the bride was quite big, and she was walking down the aisle, and this comedian's brother was sat next to him, and he just went la 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 da 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 da. Or no, actually wait, I'm getting that wrong. The Jurassic Park theme was the sound and the music that the bride chose to walk down the aisle to, and the brother held up a glass of water and shook it and just went, "Oi."
That's great. Never mind. This is a complete tangent, but this week I heard maybe the funniest podcast I've ever heard in my life. It was a So for those who don't know, quick lore drop. There used to be a radio show called Opie and Anthony. It's one of the biggest radio shows in history. It ran from 1995 to 2014. There's a messy breakup. Anthony got fired. Opie immediately dissociated with Anthony, and now they hate each other. And now Anthony is back on the radio. He has a show on AM radio. He's like a conservative, like political talk radio guy now. But this week he had Jim Norton, who is a comedian who was the third chair on Opie and Anthony, on his radio show. So they're back in old times. They're like exchanging barbs because Opie and Anthony is famous for being like the meanest show in history. Like they're mean to each other. They're mean to everyone else. Like that's and they have fun with it. They have a good time. So it was like this culture shock for all these like old ladies who are listening to AM radio. They call in expecting to have a nice, pleasant conversation with Anthony about like the state of the world today, as they have every other week, because on regular weeks it's just a normal conservative talk radio show. And then Anthony and Jimmy just start like laying into them, but they don't know how to handle it because they're old women. It was really fun. There was this lady that called in. She's a regular. She always calls into the show. And Jimmy just starts laying into her and like accusing her of being fat. And she says, "I'm not fat. I'm 108 pounds." And Anthony says, "Yeah," and she's 1 foot tall.
Oh my.
And then she tries to she doesn't know how to handle the meanness, but she's still being nice because she enjoys the show. And she tries to like tie the call together by being nice. She's like, I reunited with a friend of mine recently too, so I'm glad to hear another set of friends do that and enjoying themselves. And then Jim's response is just, we can add that to the collection of the worst stories ever.
Oh my god. Savage.
It was great. So funny. And then a 75-year-old woman called in and claimed to be sexy and hit on them. And
God.
they weren't super mean to her to her face, but then they went on break and they came back and Jimmy's doing an impression of her and it's the funniest shit in the world. I loved that episode. Everybody I don't recommend the Anthony Cumia show normally unless you're an insane right winger. I'm not. I just am weird and listen to insane right winger shows. But that particular episode of the Anthony Cumia show from the 25th of May, I recommend wholeheartedly.
Noted. And
Uh,
I didn't realize that there's actually a couple more cosplays
ooh.
that I failed to mention because they were in a different image collage. So
Oh,
as I was
okay.
pressing the arrow keys, it looped back instead of going to the next ones.
What else you got? Who else?
We got me and my two cousins. So again, Wario and Vaggy. Just me and Wario, me and Vaggy. Uh, K9 from Doctor Who. I got one of K9 on his own, and then one of me and K9. I found a
Good.
Charlie cosplayer from Has Been Hotel, so I got a picture with her.
Nice.
And I took a picture of her and my cousin because, Vaggy and Charlie, which, if you don't know, has been their girlfriends. So, and the Charlie cosplayer actually asked if she could get a picture with my cousin. So I was like, yeah, I'll snap that and I'll send that to them. And then I was like, Anthony, you here? Is it alright if I get a picture? And she was cool with it, so got some of those. And then the actual last one, because I did double double back and check, is me fighting Red Hulk.
Awesome.
Wolverine against Red Hulk. That is a comic that I would love to see.
Wolverine versus regular Hulk is like one of the most famous comics ever.
I I am aware of that, and they did reference the actual comic cover art in the Deadpool versus Wolverine movie, which is amazing. I'm not sure if you caught it, but when Wolverine was fighting Red Hulk, as Deadpool was going through the different universes to find one that would work for the thing, Wolverine extended his claws, and you could see Hulk's reflection in his blades,
Oh, that's cool.
which was the cover for the Hulk versus Wolverine fight.
That's awesome.
It was, yeah.
I think my favorite Wolverine fight, I don't know if there's a comic equivalent. I assume that there is. But I saw it in a video game. And it's Wolverine versus Venom.
Oh,
I have to assume that's happened in the comics, but it happens in Ultimate Spider-Man, which is a game for like I think the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. Maybe it's not on one of those things, but it you switch between playing as Spider-Man and as Venom. That's the gimmick of the game. And there is a part where you play as Venom and you have to do a boss fight against Wolverine, and it's pretty sick.
okay. There is a comic for it. I just googled it,
Okay, I'm gonna have to read that comic then because the fight in the game is pretty cool.
and there's one more little story thing that I can recall from Comic Con because it was literally just going around taking pictures. Apart from when I just bought a Lego Sonic screwdriver because it was there and
That's
it's that
awesome.
cheap, so I thought, why not? I'll buy it and build it. So I've got that. Um, this isn't really a fun story. It's more of a concerning one
Oh,
because
They try to kidnap you at Comic Con?
No, it starts off fine because
Did the
my
Joker walk up to you and say, "Hey, kid, want some candy?"
want to see a magic trick? No, so there's this thing that you can do on Comic Con where you can walk on stage and show off your cosplay, and I didn't do it because I didn't know that it was a thing until it was too late. It doesn't cost anything, and you just have to sign up for it before 1 o'clock, and then you're given the time slot to go to that place and walk on stage, do some poses or whatever. My cousin was there, and she was showing off her Vaggy cosplay, and when she was done, she walked back, and coincidentally, I was right outside where she walked back from. She ran up to me, and first time that we'd seen her all day, um, just hugged me with no. I mean, yeah, family thing. It obviously you would, but she looked scared. So obviously, I asked her if she was okay. She told me no, she wasn't. So I like pulled back for a second, and I asked her like, "What's wrong? What happened?" Apparently, as she was doing her walk on, someone in her peripheral vision collapsed to the floor,
Oh my god.
and she didn't see who it was, and she also didn't know what I was going to Comic Con as. So
She was concerned it was you?
she thought
Okay.
it was me, yeah, because I'm epilepsy like she does. So she
Mm.
thought I collapsed, but I didn't. So yeah, that happened, and she was devastated. But I had to just reassure her that I was there, I was safe, I hadn't fallen, I was fine, and it was all good after that. But
I just want you all to understand the respect and decorum I have for Nightster, because 95% of my friends could not get away with telling that story without me deluging them with incest jokes. So you can tell I have a more sophisticated relationship with Nightster than most.
yeah, it's like we're not um like I feel like there's a level of respect towards us. I'm not to the point that we're not friends. I'm to the point where we can make such big jokes because we are really good friends. It's the fact that we respect each other enough to not delve that far.
Yeah, we're friends in a different context. Like I have my like mean Shark Tank comedy friends, and with them I can do that. And we are more nerd friends, and I'm kind of pulling you into that world slowly but surely. But I'm not gonna hammer you like I would most people.
I mean, I did make a kind of sexual joke at Comic Con when I met Tom
Oh, did you?
because
What was the joke?
um, I was talking to him about some of his stuff that he had worked on over the years, and eventually I got around to asking about content, his series where he'd do challenges with Eddie and Elliot, and I I eventually asked him if either of them were there at Comic Con. He said Elliot no, but Eddie was, and he was at his own station. If you go towards where it says 11 at the back, you can kind of see his bits. And as he said that, I thought I knew Tom's humor, so I just went, "Oh well, I hope I can't see his bits." He just gave a nervous laugh and looked at me and looked back and continued to explain where Eddie was. So I don't think that went too well.
That's
But
funny.
oh my
Yeah.
god, I forgot. There's one more. There's one more little story.
Hold on. First, I have a story about meeting a celebrity that you're to find entertaining. This is the story of me embarrassing myself. I think I've told this on air a couple times, but I've definitely never told you. So I went to there's this podcast called Who Are These Podcasts, where the premise is they rip on other podcasts. They listen to clips of other podcasts. They make fun of them. They make jokes. They have a good time. It's this guy named Carl and a rotating cast of comedians who he's friends with. And they did a live show in Florida, and it was a crossover with another podcast called Revenge of the Sis. And I went, and I had a good time. And they had an after party at a bar, so I went to the after party. And when I was at the after party, like I got to meet everyone. It was cool. I got to shake Carl's hand. It was a great time. And then I went to the bar and I ordered chicken wings. And I ordered 20 chicken wings, so I'm very fat. And because they assumed that I was sharing the 20 chicken wings because they underestimated my fatness, they gave me a bunch of paper plates and napkins and shit. And the thing about this bar is it's fucking packed wall to wall. It's ridiculous. There is no room to do anything. So I'm carrying these 20 wings and this fucking plates and napkins and shit. And I thankfully I didn't drop the wings. But what I did do is I dropped all the fucking plates and napkins and shit everywhere like an
Oh,
idiot.
no.
And then Royce from Revenge of the Sis comes up and helps me. And he's the nicest guy in the world. And meanwhile, I'm super embarrassed that this internet comedian who I just watched perform is now helping me fix my terrible mistakes of dropping paper plates and napkins because I'm an idiot. It's very embarrassing.
Oh my god.
He was really sweet about it, and then he absolutely tore up karaoke. Shout out to Royce Lopez from Revenge of the Sis. He could fucking control a mic in a karaoke setting.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, no idea about any of who he is and what he can do, but sounds interesting. And the fact that you got help from someone even remotely famous is pretty awesome.
It was cool, but it was also embarrassing because I'm like, oh, now Royce from Revenge of the Sis knows me as the guy who dropped all the paper plates and the napkins at the after party.
I think of it this way: I met Tom because, um, I queued up to meet him. You met Royce because he came up to you.
Yeah, it was nice.
That's a fucking win, even if it's embarrassing. He came up to you.
I was so meek during that whole. I should have tried to talk to the celebrities more. I should have been better. I probably could have kept fucking Mersh's ear all night because he was drunk and he was rambling with everybody. I could have been hanging out with Mersh all night if I wasn't not confident.
Yeah. So, okay, the first sentence of this is gonna sound a bit sus,
Hmm.
but just listen to the rest of the story and don't judge right away because it's not what it sounds like at first.
Okay.
So I met a little girl.
Okay.
She must have been like 5, 6 years old
And the
or
Joker
something.
came in and he said, "I'm kidding."
10 max. And she came up to me, um, shouting like Wolverine, Wolverine. And she tapped me on the arm. And I turned around and I looked, and she was holding this 3D printed little blue dragon that she had.
It's
And she
cool.
held it up to me and asked me to take it. Um, I I made sure that's what she meant, and I was saying quite a few times, "Are you really sure you want me to have this?" Or like, I can't take this. This is a really cool figure, and she was like, "No, I really want you to have it," because she went to Comic Con as Wolverine last year because she really, really loves the character. So she saw me dressed as Wolverine and just wanted to give me this little toy.
You
that
see,
she
I know
made.
you, and I know you didn't do this, but if I was in that situation, I definitely would have like been doing a Wolverine impression. It would come naturally to me.
Oh,
If a little kid Wolverine fan came up to me and tried to give me a blue dragon, and I was dressed as Wolverine, I'd be like, "Hey, bub, thanks for the statue."
I should have. There's two things I should have done, but I didn't, and it's that, and this one I'm kind of okay with my choice of not doing this because thinking back, it might have been a bit odd. Is I was thinking, should I have asked if she wanted a picture with this Wolverine? But like thinking back, it's like I'm just asking if a little girl wants a photo with some guy she's never met. So maybe it was safe that I didn't say that.
Yeah, no, you have to wait for her to ask you in that scenario, I think.
Yeah. And she didn't ask, so um,
Hold
there was
on,
no.
Vito's crying for his lunch. Fucking Vito.
I'm starving for mine, but I've got to wait.
Tragic. Let me go feed
Yeah.
this little fucker real quick, and then we'll move on to the conversation I've been waiting to have this whole time. I've been bouncing up and down in my chair, waiting to talk about it. So, and folks, this is probably where I'm gonna mark the end of the main segment of the show. I'm probably gonna put a timestamp in the description. So if you don't care about Breaking Bad or Doctor Who, this is the end of the Power Rangers portion of the episode. We'll be back with Breaking Bad right now. All right, Nightster, you recently met a man.
I
His
did.
name is his name is Walter Hartwell White. He lives on 308 Negro Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87104. How'd you feel about it?
Well, from the pilot, he went from a little wimpy bitch to still a bit of a wimpy bitch, but a bit less so, and willing to make a drug, I
Is the
guess.
what's the matter having trouble walking scene in the pilot?
It is, yeah, where
Okay.
he
That-
where he beats the crap out of a out of a kid,
yeah, he's just
um,
like
insulting his son.
it's pretty funny.
Yeah, which respect to
Yeah,
Walter for
real, deserved.
deserved. Yeah,
But yeah, overall, how did you feel about the pilot of Breaking Bad? Are you a fan?
I didn't think I would be because it didn't seem like my kind of show, like drugs and all that. But the pilot was actually pretty good. But you failed to warn me about some of the things that I'd be seeing.
I mean, you're an adult man, Nightster. I figured you'd be
I
okay.
know. Yeah, I was okay, but like I didn't need to see a freaking handy under the covers.
I forgot about the uninterested hand job scene.
There was that. There was also the freaking anal at the end, and there's the tits, but
Yeah, there were tits.
they were they were fine.
Yeah, she
I'm
didn't
not
have a great face, but she had okay tits.
scared knockers.
But how did you feel about Jesse Pinkman? He's the character that a lot of people glom onto. How are you feeling about old Pinkman?
Uh, don't like him. I think he's a dick.
You don't like Jesse Pinkman?
I think he's a dick.
He is a dick. He's definitely a dick in the first. I think you'll grow to like Jesse Pinkman, but he is kind of a dick in the first episode. You're right.
If I continue to watch the show, maybe.
Yeah, if you were to continue to watch it, I think you'd grow to like Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah.
Because it actually is like it's the opposite of what you're saying. Like Jesse Pinkman, like is like the most wouldn't hurt a fly character in the show. He just like is caught up in the wrong crowd.
Yeah, that much I can definitely believe because he was working with Emilio, and then there was the whole thing with uh, um was it Emilio's cousin or brother or just
Yeah,
a friend.
Emilio's cousin, Crazy 8.
Yeah. Like so Jesse with those two was a bit. Um, I can see how that. I can't words
That's
today.
okay. It happens.
Yeah. I can see how that is him being caught up in the wrong crowd. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's just like he does bad in school. He flunks out of chemistry class, obviously. He's like, how do I make money? Oh, I sell meth, and turns out selling meth, the meth game, takes you to some places you don't want to go.
And has you working with your old science teacher,
Your old chemistry teacher who wants to make money because he has cancer.
and he's gonna die in like a month. Was it a month or was it a year?
Which isn't true because there's 5 seasons of the show.
I think he says a month anyway.
Yeah, something like
Can't-
that.
I mean, I watched 3 episodes of varying shows yesterday. Some details are gonna slip my mind.
I should have rewatched the pilot. I actually didn't, but I remember it pretty well.
I did rewatch the episode of Doctor Who that we're gonna talk about later because it was really good. Grade A episode. But until we talk about that, there's still some things about the pilot for BB.
I'm trying to think of other characters that I'm interested in your feelings on. How'd you feel about Hank and Gomi?
Hank and Gomi. Are those the police officers?
Yeah.
I love them so much, especially the big guy who was
Yeah, Hank, he's great. Love
Hank.
Hank.
I love Hank. Like,
And Hank's like the hero of the story. We love Hank. Walter
yay!
White's the main character. It's a show about a villain, but the hero in this show about the villain is Hank. So
I love how he's so chill about letting a child hold his gun.
yeah, he's rough. He's not perfect. He's rough around the edges. He does say a couple racial slurs in this episode. Like he's not a model citizen, but he's a good guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
He's good enough to be a cop, and he's a fun character. I like him.
He's
I
pretty
don't like
good.
his racist uh like tendencies, but I like his personality.
Yeah, it's like the thing is like it's like there's a point of subtlety in racism. I feel like we've lost in society where like just saying slurs isn't necessarily bad. Like especially if they're not around to hear them. Like you shouldn't do it obviously. Like it would be better if you didn't. But it's
Yeah, I
much
was
less
gonna say,
terrible than being like that just talking to your friend and saying the B slur. As opposed to walking up to a Spanish person and being like, "You fucking B slur." Those are two very different things.
the
I
way
don't
I've
I don't
always
think Hank hates other races. He just like grew up in a time where people would make jokes about racial stereotypes and he partakes, but he doesn't have any hatred in his heart, I don't think.
it kind of reminds me of the argument that people make where actually saying the slur to someone's face and like singing the word in a rap song is two different things.
I'm a true believer. I actually do say some, but I don't say the big one because the people tell me I can't. But I am a proponent that I think you should be able to say literally any words. Like it's the context that matters.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
If
give
I
my
say the N word in the forest and there's no black person around to hear it and get upset, then did I even really say the N word?
I'm not gonna give my view on that whole thing just because
If an N word falls in the woods,
like I don't want to like have
you don't want to
my
incriminate yourself. That's okay.
yeah. uh, But
All slurs are
what I will
bad. Official Nightster stands.
what I will say is that just for safety, I never say those words even when like rapping to myself. If I'm listening to a rap song that has those lyrics and I'm singing along, I'll just um stop as that word is being said.
What I've done
I
is
won't
just
say
like
anything.
the thing about the N word, not the like main N word, the hard R one, but the soft A one. When people tell stories and use that as like an extenuating phrase, it's always great. And I am jealous of that power. So what I've started doing is I say wigga sometimes to achieve the same effect. Because it's just the igga noise at the end. It doesn't matter what the first letter is. It's the igga that makes it funny.
I just say fuckers. Yeah, these fuckers don't care.
Yeah. But no, what else in Breaking Bad? How'd you feel about the fam? How'd you feel about Skylar and Walt Jr.?
I like Walt Jr. Uh, he's a bit of a um, not snob, but uh, he's in that teen phase
Yeah, yeah,
that
he's a shitty teen for
is
sure.
a shitty teen, but every teen is at some point. So I'm not gonna hold that against him.
Yeah.
Uh, I like how they right off the bat they introduce a character with a disability like his, but they don't make it a massive point onto the show. At least not in episode one. I'm not sure if that's going to be a thing later on, but in the pilot, the only scene that really seemed to care about his disability was um the shopping scene, and I think that was handled quite well, in my opinion. As for Skylar, not sure how I feel about her because we don't see a lot of it, a lot of her. I do enjoy the family dynamic between like and the breakfast scene. That was good, but we don't see a lot of Skylar on her own in the first episode. But I do think she's just trying to be there for the family. So I'm not. I won't say I dislike her, but I don't have any strong feelings. Basically,
Yeah, that's fair. She's actually pretty widely disliked by the community. There's a lot of turmoil as far as Skylar goes. That's obviously not. She hasn't done much yet. So based on the first episode, you don't really know how you're gonna feel about her. But she's probably the most unpopular character on that show.
yeah.
Oh, they're really only competing with Marie, which yes, Breaking Bad fans are misogynist. Which Marie's in this
Oh my,
episode, right? How do we feel about
yeah.
Marie? How do you feel about Marie?
She's barely in it. She made a comment that Skylar is showing a little bit, and I think that was it.
She's just really mean about Skylar and her baby.
I mean, it's sibling banter,
Yeah.
so it's fun. Uh, maybe I'll grow to like her, but as of now, she's just kind of a bitch.
Yeah, fair enough. She is a bitch, but she's a charming bitch sometimes.
Yeah.
And then how did you feel about the general plot progression? The pilot is actually very effective because like even if you never watch Breaking Bad again, this is like a movie that you could consume and it's enjoyable from beginning to end and tells a full story pretty much. I guess there is some loose threads at the end with like Emilio and Crazy Eight or whatever, but mostly it's a like complete story. So how'd you feel about it overall?
One thing I will say about the plot is I love what they did with. They kind of had a mega mind thing going on where they start the movie. They start the episode where the end is set, and then there's like a flashback sort of thing, and that flashback is the entire episode, which leads back to where it began, which I really enjoyed that concept because it introduces you to the main character gives you questions like, "Who is that? What's going on? What's all this liquid in the RV?" And the episode does a great job of explaining everything and how it got to that point, and sets it up for the actual show to begin. So I do really enjoy that. Uh oh, I need
Lunchtime.
to. Yep, it is lunchtime for me. So we'll be back right now, folks. I told you, I told you guys that we'd be back right now, and that totally did not take a long time.
Of course, you come back in the middle of me reorganizing my podcast playlist and shit, being like, "Man, he's really taking a long time."
Yeah, well, it turns out uh, they'd grabbed like a whole dinner from McDonald's, and well, there was a lot of conversation about their time in London for Les Mis. So
Oh, they saw Les Mis in London. That's cool.
yeah, so
I love
we were
Les
talking
Mis.
about that.
We reviewed the movie on one of my other shows a few months ago. It's great.
Yeah, they saw a live performance a few days ago.
I'd love to see a live performance of Les Mis.
They loved it. They said the voices were phenomenal. The singing was great, and there were some great uses of sound effects that actually had my mum scared at some point
Nice.
because there were gunshots, and she thought there were actual guns
There's
going
a
off.
theater shooting occurring.
Front point two. So, any topics in Breaking Bad that we haven't covered?
I figure we can just do the classic set of wrap up questions. It's a solid way to wrap it up. And by the way, the classic set of wrap up questions in this case, I kind of changed them up a little bit for Megazord Radio. So the first two remain the same: favorite character and favorite scene. Then instead of ranking it, because we're not doing it episode by episode, just rate it 10 out of 10. So favorite character, Nightster.
My favorite character from Breaking Bad pilot is, once again, I forget his name, but the big police guy,
Hank.
Hank. I love Hank. It might just be a something that it might just be because his name is similar to my real last name, but I
Yeah,
love Hanks in characters.
I find myself to be a main character cuck in this case, not in the show in general. Like there are characters who get introduced later that I prefer over Walt. But as far as the pilot goes, like the spotlight's on him. He has all this rapid character development, and I was very engrossed in him throughout the whole runtime. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Walter.
Fair enough.
About favorite scene.
Uh, Walt beating the shit out of Walt Jr.'s bullies easily.
Yeah, that's fair.
I love
I might.
seeing dads stick up for their kids.
Yeah, that's definitely a honorable mention. That's really good. I think I gotta give it just to the first cook because I like the I like first of all I like the juxtaposition of like the very casual music with the fact that they're cooking meth and also just like the early stages of the bond between Walt and Jesse that we will see be formed, tested, and ripped apart throughout the show. It's very good. So I'm gonna give it to that.
I do have my own honorable mention to do
Okay.
with cooking, and it's when Walt was going to teach um the other two how to cook his recipe, but actually it was a trap, and he
Yeah,
was
that was good.
fooling. That was smart.
That's the kind of shit. That's what appeals to me about this show because like I came to Breaking Bad right after watching Death Note. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Death Note at all.
I am, yes. It's the anime where this kid gets a book from an angel of death, and if he writes a, someone's name into that book, they die, and you can specify how and when. And
Okay, yeah, but
stuff like
you haven't seen it though, or have
I
you?
haven't seen it, but I know the premise.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, that's the appeal of that show too. Is like the point is the guy with the book does not want to be caught, and that there's a high class detective who's after him, and they have to pull various trickery on each other as they have a little cat and mouse game. And Breaking Bad scratched that itch immediately after I finished Death Note because it's very similar. Walter White comes up with crazy plans to trick people. It's a cat and mouse game. There's actually a couple cat and mouse games. There's Walt and Hank, obviously. Once Hank starts getting into the case because he's a DAA officer, so obviously if there's meth being sold, he's got to deal with it. So there's a cat and mouse game between those two. And then there's a villain who gets introduced in a season or two who he has a pretty intense cat and mouse game with. It's very good.
Yeah.
But
As a just a
rated out of
review,
10.
Rated out of 10 as because it's hard to rank it as an episode of Breaking Bad because I haven't seen any others.
Just as a
But
piece of media you viewed on its own, how would you rate it?
I'd rate it a solid 7.
That's fair.
It was good. It was really good, but it's not my particular type of media that I would typically follow. But it wasn't bad. It was good. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it's
Breaking Bad the first like season kind of is more like intensely a drama where it remains a drama the whole time, but like it kind of becomes more and more of a black comedy as time goes on. And that kind of helps it be like something that's set apart. I think you'll enjoy it if you keep going.
honestly I might. It's tempting.
I don't know if anybody's ever described Breaking Bad as a black comedy. We'll see. We'll see if people get
What?
upset about that.
Are you okay over there? I just heard heavy breathing.
Did I?
You're,
I was
you're right.
talking. Did you hear the words?
I heard the words, but just beforehand, I heard really heavy breathing. I was making sure that you're okay.
I'm fat, Nightster. It's normal.
I've never heard that from you in like how
Well,
many
you
episodes?
usually noise cancellation will get like big breathing out, but I guess every once in a while it slips through.
Fair enough. I'm just concerned
You
for
know, I'm
your sake.
fine. Or at the very least, I'm not currently dying.
That's that's always a good ballpark to be in. Not currently
Yeah,
dying.
I don't want to say I'm fine because I am heavily breathing because I'm fat, which is a bad thing for my health. But I am not actively dying or in distress right now.
Okay, that's good. Now I believe we have one more topic to cover before we end this episode of Megazord Radio.
Yeah, we got one more thing to talk about.
So, how was your first proper look at Doctor Who, Riley?
God damn it, Nightster. You didn't have to put me on that level of an emotional roller coaster, you son of a bitch.
The reason I chose that episode was A, because it had two of the best companions, B, because it introduced a character who was really well loved,
Does she ever come
and
back?
no, sadly,
Damn
she's
it!
still. I believe she's come back in comics and maybe some like audio adventures, like the extended media. But as far as the actual show goes, she has not returned.
Is that David Tennant's real daughter, by the way? I thought I might have sniped something on Google about that while I was looking at the episode.
Fun fact about that:
Yeah?
that is Georgia Tennant, who
Okay, yeah,
is
so
not.
it is David Tennant. Oh, it's not.
No,
Oh.
it's not his daughter. She is the daughter of Fifth Doctor actor Peter Davison. So she was previously called um, Georgia Davison, but she married David Tennant after they filmed
What?
their episode.
What the
So,
fuck?
so she
His
is.
wife played his daughter?
They weren't married at the time, and they weren't
Oh.
romantically interested
Okay,
at the time.
okay.
But it was after they met through Doctor Who, and then afterwards they grew fond of each other and got married. But
I'm glad it worked out for them. That's got to be a rough scenario. The fucking the main brother and sister from Wizards of Waverly Place tried to date, and it was just too weird. They had to stop.
Georgia Tennant is literally the Doctor's daughter in the show and in real life, and is also the Doctor's wife in real life.
Wow, she's got a lot of connections to Doctor Who.
Yep. So
I think they put her in it one more time at least.
they need to, and and you know what pisses me off?
What pisses you off?
There's a plot point now about the Doctor having a daughter in the newest episodes, and it's not Jenny.
Well, yeah, because it's not David Tennant, but unless it is,
it could still be. It could still be Jenny, because
I guess.
this is, by the way, spoilers for current Doctor Who, so if anyone is
After today, I may consider watching Doctor Who, but I'm not one to care about spoilers really. So go ahead.
I'm mainly warning the audience because there might be some people who do watch the show and
Yeah,
don't
fair
want
enough.
spoilers for that. So short pause, and then I'm gonna talk about the newest episodes. So okay, warning
Okay.
done. Here we go. In the latest episodes,
I'm
the
not
Doctor.
time stamping it. You have to fast forward yourself, listeners.
I'm the Doctor's granddaughter came back. And
Oh,
for context of that, the first ever Doctor, William Hartnell, number one himself, which, by the way, that was the Who first episode release date back in the 60s, long time ago now. Was it four? Yeah,
so
60 years ago.
how long did Doctor Who die for? Because like it was on in the '60s, and I guess it was off for a long time, and then this new one started, right?
Last classic Who episode. Okay, so Doctor Who release date. So it ended in 1982, and then 2005.
So 23
23
years it
years.
was off the
Yeah,
air. Okay,
yeah,
an entire me amount of time it was off the air.
yeah, and me,
That's true.
an entire us off the air. And yeah, back in the 60s, William Hartnell's Doctor had a grandchild called Susan, and he left her with a very moving and iconic speech, something along the lines of, "One day I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. But until then, there must be no fears, no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine. Goodbye, my dear." And he left, and we never saw Susan again until
Wow.
um until today,
Wow.
a few days ago, and it's the same fucking actress.
God, she's got to be geriatric by now.
Susan
Wheeled her out of the nursing home to film Doctor Who.
Carol Ann Ford. She's 84, which by the way is not the
Okay,
oldest.
so we can get the daughter from 50 years ago, but we can't get the daughter from maybe like 15 years ago.
A granddaughter, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. I don't think it's going to be the case, but it's possible that Jenny is kind of already in the episodes. But if my theory is correct, then that's fucking weird.
Are you saying she
Because
did she turn into a new person? Did she doctorify?
yeah, because I know how and they can regenerate, be new people.
Yeah.
Well, there's another character in the last episode called Poppy, who we first met in an episode called Space Babies, where Poppy is a baby and she talks, but she pointed at the Doctor and his companion, uh, Ruby, and said, "Mummy and Daddy." To which the Doctor said, "No, and we're not your mummy and daddy, but I wish we were." And then last episode, she came back in this made up world that was created out of a wish, and Poppy was the Doctor's daughter.
Wait, so is it a different woman now? Or is it still the
Yeah,
same woman? Okay.
different woman.
Because, like, I get her calling the doctor dad, but the fact that she called the woman mom kind of makes me think that maybe it's just baby talk if it's not the same woman.
Yeah, but um, no, the companions changed around, so the mum now is different to the woman she called mum before. Uh, and the episode ended with the mysterious line of, I have a daughter. She is real. Don't you get what that means?" And it was a cliffhanger, so we're not going to find out until Saturday. But it means that the Doctor does have a daughter, and that is Poppy. And it might just be one of his many kids from Gallifrey that we know about, or it might just be some new character. But it might also be the fact that Jenny, for some reason, regenerated into a baby, which would be weird.
I mean, I could see an explanation for it. Like she never was a baby before, so it like when she regenerated, her body was like, I was supposed to have been a baby once. Let me just go ahead and get that part done now.
Except the fact that um, I'm not sure if this is classic Who stuff or extended media, but there's actually an explanation for how Time Lords are created.
They're no
Because
baby. They're not babies, are they? There's no baby Doctor Who.
normally they're not exactly babies, and they're not born through sex either. Most of the time, they can be born through sex, but it's not the most common. Um, what they do is they have a thing called looming machines, which you've kind of already seen.
I guess they had a similar thing on this alien planet that resulted in the creation of Jenny.
So imagine that, but instead of making a soldier, it just makes a Time Lord. And another big difference is while they can have the body like physically be any age the parents want, they will always mentally start off as a baby and then mature as normal. So you'll have like a teenager acting like a baby.
Heh. It's already
So
most
yeah,
teenagers, isn't it? But
yeah. So the actual plot of the episode, yeah, you've
I have a
met Jenny.
question.
Yeah.
I'm going a little off the beaten path here, but I've kind of half forgotten the question. I'm going to try to remind myself as I ask it, so we'll see how this goes. There's something. Oh, so Doctor Who said that his kids are dead and that he's upset about that. And that brought the question of like, was he the same guy back then? Because like I thought Doctor Who didn't keep his memories when he regenerated. Did all the Doctor Who's exist separately during the Time War and they just got like melded together somehow?
No, that they keep their memories for regeneration.
They do? Like
Yes.
completely?
It's just different personalities and different bodies. They keep their memories.
You've shown me several regeneration scenes, and it doesn't always seem like they super remember the companion who's there with them. Maybe I'm just misinterpreting the way they're speaking, but
Maybe, but no, they definitely keep the memories of their past faces. They just have vastly different personalities.
okay, I understand now. Also, it's funny that this episode set it itself up so that you would think that a new person would be joining the main cast, when in reality, not only did that new person not join the main cast, another member of the main cast exited the main cast.
It was Martha, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well, to be fair, her appearance in season 4 was kind of a one-off because she was a companion for season 3, but she came back for a episode in season 4, and the plot line for that was it ended with them trying to take Martha home, but then the TARDIS started going crazy and crashing, and that's why it started there. Which, oh yeah, and there was the chopped off hand. How did you feel about that?
I mean, I assumed there was some sort of other episode in which that happened, but it was very strange.
And you know what's stranger?
What?
We do see it happen, and there's no blood.
Oh.
Like, the Doctor is fighting an alien just after he regenerated in a sword fight, and the alien kicks him, and he's on his back, and then the alien just swings his sword down, and it chops his hand off, and we see the hand go flying downwards towards the planet, and then the sleeve is just empty, and there's no hand, there's no blood even anywhere. Like it just chopped off
Wild.
some clay. How about General Cobb? How do you feel about him? The old
General
man that shot
Yeah,
Jenny.
General Cobb. I mean, he's an asshole. I hate him. Tried to kill my girl.
Yes, you do like Cobb. You've made that quite clear. I mean, not no, you do like Jenny. I mean, you've made that clear that you like Jenny.
She's a fucking badass. I was immediately like, oh my god. And would for the moment where I was tricked into thinking she was gonna join the main cast, I almost just like kept watching and said fuck you to the podcast. But obviously that's not how it ends, and she's a one-off character. It's like, god damn it.
I do genuinely think you'd enjoy the show.
No, I probably am. I probably would, and I genuinely after this episode I might just go start it.
Yeah. So yeah,
My
Cobb is
only thing is like I don't know if I'm gonna be sold on the season one Doctor is my only concern because I'm already very sold on David Tennant and there's a whole season before he shows up.
trust me. Christopher Eccleston is really fucking good.
Okay,
He is.
okay.
He's amazing. I love him as a Doctor. I love all of them, but it's a bittersweet moment when they all change, and you learn to accept I'm the new guy or the new woman in one case, and keep on watching. Even though most people, when Jodie became the Doctor, most people stopped watching at that point. It was,
Was it the girl first or was it the black guy first? Because I remember a lot of people complaining both times.
it was the woman first,
Okay.
and then it was back to David Tennant, and then it was the black guy.
Yeah, and I've seen that like budding split that they did. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I showed you that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, any more story beats? I mean,
I mean, like, yeah, it's a bit. This is big, like, intergalactic war that they walk in
oh
on.
yeah,
Martha gets
oh, and
kidnapped by the other side, and they're both like inventing soldiers out of DNA with a machine. And it turns out the twist of the episode is like they think they're in this like ancient war that's been going on for millennia, where they're trying to get this like ancient artifact with great power. And it turns out this has been happening for 1 week.
yeah,
And that it's just they've been killed so rapidly that like generations have been wiped out in a day, so it's easy to like spin the narrative of like this has been going on for thousands of years. But yeah, it was fascinating. I was locked in from beginning to end. I was not expecting the twist. I thought that Jenny was going to stay dead, and I would have had to hire assassins to kill you. So luckily for you, she did
Yeah,
not stay dead.
you, you sent that. He sent me a DM, something along the lines of, "If Jenny has stayed dead, then assassins would have come to kill me."
Yes.
So I found myself lucky that she came back.
This is a running
Oh,
bit I do whenever my friends recommend me media that makes me sad. And sometimes it'll start shifting as I go, so it'll be just like this ridiculous rambling of like the snipers are coming. Maybe just one sniper. Maybe you're actually my favorite person in the world. Actually, fuck you again. All of the snipers.
in short, Riely, like most people, really likes Jenny.
And you should have been in the show. I would watch the Jenny show. There should be a
Spe-
Jenny show.
Speaking of, there is actually okay, and I know this makes it sound like I'm gonna hit you with some great news, but sadly no. There's another character called Jenny in the show, and she is part of a three-person team with an alien called Strax, who's a Centauran, which is basically a short potato-headed alien, and another species from Earth, so not an alien, of lizard people that live under the ground, called a Silurian, and her name is Vastra, and Jenny and Vastra are married, and they go around like old London solving like murder mysteries and stuff like that. And people have been begging the BBC to give them their own show, which I
Should,
wholeheartedly agree with.
should do both. The Jenny and Jenny show.
Yes. And there's been two Doctor Who spin-offs with a third one in the making. There's the Sarah Jane Adventures, rest in peace, Elizabeth Sladen. Her passing is why that show ended. Basically, an old companion of the Doctor teaming up with some kids to stop aliens in um, their hometown.
Hmm.
Torchwood, another old companion starting a group of alien like stoppers in their place, but it's all adults and it's adult media. Like like there's literally like fucking sex scenes and all that in Torchwood.
Wow.
And
Edgy.
the one that's in the making that is coming out either this year or early next year is a unit show. You know Unit, right? With Kate Stewart and the
No.
people. From the Giggle, the woman in the tower.
What?
I know the episode with Neil Patrick Harris.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure I've shown you the clip where he dances with the people in that building, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That building is Unit HQ, and the two.
Oh.
Um, and one of the women that he dances with and throws against the wall. That's Kate Stewart, the leader of Unit, and they're getting a spin-off called The War Against Land and Sea, which is going to be a show about them against a specific alien, which is going to be fun.
I
Anyway,
will say, I was kind of hoping that the doctor would blow that guy's fucking head off. Like it was possible. I was thinking like maybe that's the arc. Maybe he does blow his fucking head off, and he spends the next 5 episodes being like, "I've killed a man. I'm very upset about this."
I ask, was you expecting him to pull that trigger?
I figured it was about 75-25, and I figured he wasn't going to, but I could see the reality where he did.
David Tennant was such a good actor, and well, he's always a good actor, but it really shows in that scene because you could just feel the anger through his like teeth. the whole as he's pointing the gun at the guy who killed his daughter.
10 minutes after he had a heartfelt conversation with his companion about how he's so distraught over his previous kids dying that he could never love again, and he had just learned to love again.
And like he literally kind of disowns Jenny throughout most of the episode. He's like, my daughter, except she's not. But
And then just as he's coming around, dead. As far as he knows, still dead.
How did you feel about the heartfelt scene where he first starts to accept Jenny, where Donna grabs the stethoscope?
That was well done. All of it was very well done.
Like, if you were confused about that bit, the whole two hearts thing. Obviously, humans don't have two hearts, but Time Lords do. That's a genetic trait. Their people have two hearts, so.
And by the
She
way,
was
real
like,
quick, I have to interrupt you. I just realized something. I give Breaking Bad episode 1 an 8.5 out of 10. Please continue.
"Oh yeah, didn't I see?
I didn't say that. No.
They didn't rate it."
Yeah, the show gets better over time, but the pilot is very solid. 8.5 out of 10. Back to Doctor Who.
Damn. Okay. High praise. I might actually continue it. So blah blah blah. Yeah, Time Lords have two hearts, so Donna. I was basically thinking, if I'm right about this, Jenny will have two hearts, and the Doctor will see that she is actually his. Like, it's not just some machine, a created being. She is his flesh and blood. And it's nice that Donna actually cares about that. Cares about Jenny.
Very nice.
Really would have been nice if we could have had Jenny in the 14th Doctor's episode where he settles down with Donna's family. Just saying. Because that's
Yeah.
what happens in the 14th Doctor's episode. He settles down with Donna. Like, they don't even get together, but he kind of joins their family and lives with them.
Yeah, I've seen that. You showed me that. Yeah, that was a heartfelt
So
sequence.
Jenny was there, his daughter,
She should have been.
and Donna's like best friend. What else happens in? Oh, the lasers, where Jenny flips through the beams, and then instead of shooting Cobb, she shoots the gas above him, like starting to come around to the whole. I could have killed him, but I didn't.
She's so like giddy about the fact that she could have murdered a man and she didn't.
Yeah,
Like it's so like it's so juvenile. Like it's like I could have stolen that candy and I didn't do it. I had the moral fortitude to not steal the candy.
Dad, I'm learning morals. Look, I could have killed him, but
I
I
could have
didn't.
murdered a man in cold blood. I did do it. Look at me.
Look at me go. Look at me, Dad. It was kind of cute though, just to see how happy she was and like kind of hoping to make her dad proud. But I don't think he cared that much.
Yeah, I will say I would like to see the alternate timeline where he blew that guy's fucking head out because I could see that. I could like easily I could see that storytelling where it's like he's like you're not allowed to kill, don't kill anyone, killing is bad, you can never come back from killing. And then Jenny dies and he's like fuck you and blows his fucking head off because he loves his child. He's has such love for his child that it overrules his own teachings. But he was able to hold it together, so good on him.
If this episode was nearer the end of season 4, I feel like he would have done it because there's a whole arc he goes through at the end of season 4 between his final few episodes where he calls himself the Time Lord Victorious because he's the last of the Time Lords and there's no more Daleks. Like, he's the last survivor of the Time War, and he thinks he's above everyone. And at that point, there's a whole alternate a reality audio drama where he's basically evil. There's an evil doctor
Wow.
because he's lost so much and he just doesn't care anymore. So I feel like that doctor would have done it.
Oh
This
yeah,
one,
for sure.
this one not. And how about that quote that he said to Cobb, where he was like, next time I pick up a dictionary, look up the word genocide. You'll see a little picture of me there, and the caption will be over my dead body.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I could talk about the moments of this episode for like all fucking day.
You know,
To
this
be
is an
honest.
extremely solid episode. This is a good call.
All right, so
I'm glad that I was stubborn enough about my David Tennant love to not watch episode 1 instead of this.
yeah, how do you feel about my recommendation of episodes in that case?
You did good, Nightster. You did it.
Yeah, I picked a good one, and at the risk, to avoid the risk of going on about Doctor Who for way too long, Riely, who I know the answer.
Wow. Yeah, what a hard
But
question. What a
who's
conundrum.
who was your favorite character in The Doctor's Daughter?
Well, Martha was pretty good. She really held it at Jenny.
Martha was really good, but
She's probably my well, she's probably my third because second is probably the Doctor. But she did do very good this episode.
yeah, I also have to give it to Jenny. Your favorite scene?
Hmm.
It's a tricky one.
I gotta give it to he's gonna shoot the guy scene in the speech he gives about like building the society upon the foundation of a man who never would, or whatever he said. That was really good.
I have that speech memorized. I I could quote it word for word right fucking now. Like I could do it.
Do it. Recite it right now.
All right, fine.
Welcome to theater class. This is your final exam. You have to do a monologue for us and go.
I never would. Hey, you got that?
That's pretty
I
good.
never would. When you build this society, this foundation of human and half, remember that. Make the foundation of this. I forget that one fucking word, but there's one word that he says there. Of a man that never would. And then he smashes the globe. I forgot one word, but apart from that, it's pretty much word for word. So my favorite.
I think Vito wants to play some Wii. I'm sorry, but I'm standing up now because I don't want to sit in my sweaty chair. And Vito, there's like a tote full of my mother's clothes that he just naps on all the time. I see him there, and he's like very intently looking at the Wii remote on the windowsill through the window. It's like, what's up, buddy? You want to play some Wii Sports?
I think he just thinks the remote itself is a toy, and he wants to play with it.
I think
And
so.
my dog does that with everything. If there's anything that Clover is not supposed to grab, and she can reach it, she's grabbing it.
That's fair.
My favorite scene. I'm honestly, I'm gonna give it to Jenny's little trick in the cell.
That was good.
Like that was funny.
Oh, the biggest laugh I got in that episode was, "I'd like to see you try that."
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact same thing. I keep quiet and open the door. And if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about here, there's a guard keeping watch over the cell.
A
And
pizza face ass like 17-year-old boy
yeah,
guard.
so Jenny tries to get his attention, succeeds, pulls him in for a kiss, just keeps snogging him while she grabs his pistol from its holster and then points it at him, pulls away from him, and just goes, "Keep quiet," and open the door. Because he's now unarmed, and the prisoner is holding his gun. And Donna is round the corner with the doctor, and she looks at him like, "I'd like to see you try that." And then they make their escape.
Also, I forgot there. So Jenny got to have a sad, tragic death, and she got to come back. I forgot there was a tragic death that did not get to come back.
Oh, the half.
That poor half.
He saved Martha.
He saved Martha. He was like, that half had like a personality, and even though the half didn't speak, you could tell he's nervous, but like he trusts Martha, and he's like interested in the outside world, and then he fucking dies.
Yeah, just I even said to you in the DMs, just be glad that I showed you that episode, not one with a character that's easy to love, but just actually fucking dies for real.
Turns out you didn't pick an
Completely
episode where that's the
forgetting,
case.
completely forgetting that happened in this episode.
Yeah, could all Martha's friend the half fucking sinks into the tar pits.
Justice for Harry the Half.
Harry the half, good. That's his name officially now.
That's his name. I made it up, but still, that's his official
Harold
name
Half.
now. Harry Half.
Harry Half.
And as a piece of media that you've consumed, what would you rate Doctor Who and the Doctor's Daughter out of 10?
Genuinely?
Yeah, genuinely.
Genuinely? Uh, I think as a standalone piece of media, I enjoyed every second and don't have a single complaint. I think this is a 10 out of 10.
Holy shit, we did it! We got a 10 out of 10 from Doctor Who out of Riely.
Yeah, you see, I actually don't know shit about Doctor Who. It's just funny to make fun of because it's the show that British people like. I don't know shit about Doctor Who, but this episode was fucking awesome.
Oh, I'm proud of that, and that makes me happy to also say, yes, I too would give this episode a 10 out of 10.
Very good, very good.
It is a very good episode.
With that, gamers, I think it's about time to wrap up, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gone way past the hour mark.
I think we're past the 2 hour mark at this point.
Wow, a long episode.
That used to be the norm because Crow Royalty never shuts the fuck up. Every episode was like 3 hours for a long time.
Yeah, well, now we got like a 1 hour norm with 2 hours, mostly because we've talked about a convention and 2 other shows.
True. Well, you guys thought you were gonna get a short episode today, and you got a long one. So there you go.
Yeah, we tricked you last week. Haha.
So folks, thank you for listening. Nightster, where can they find you?
You can find me on my standalone channel, Nightster, or you can find me, Riely, and some other friends over at our a collective YouTube channel, Toku Thrill. We talk about Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, anything Toku. It's all there. Where can they find you, Riely?
You can find me at linktr.ee/Riely Cinematic Universe. That's RIELY Cinematic Universe, podcasts, YouTube channels, everything you can dream. So much fucking content that you'll die, you'll drown in it. So go to linktr.ee/Riely Cinematic Universe, RIELY Cinematic Universe for all that good stuff. Now I wish I had coordinated with you earlier because you don't know this line yet because it's from a later episode of Breaking Bad. But I wish I had told you earlier and coordinated us saying I am the one who knocks at the end of this. But unfortunately I
I do know.
didn't. So oh, you know that line
I
from
know that line.
pop culture?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's quite a few lines I know. Like
I am the one who knocks.
I also know the famous "Say my name." You're Heisenberg. You're goddamn right.
God damn right.
I can know those lines.
They actually reference that they actually reference that directly in the Power Rangers comic. It was I was fucking blown away. Literally they just fucking it's like a lock monster. It's like a key monster, but it is just like Walter White. Like he has like glasses and like red hair like Walter White. And what he says when he's like threatening the Power Rangers, he the key monster, lock key monster says, "I am the one who locks."
Oh my god, I just found another picture from the con. Normally I wouldn't go back to this, but I have to.
Okay.
This is so fucking funny. I ended the entire day because on the way out we saw a Deadpool cosplayer, and I was Wolverine.
Awesome. Yes.
So obviously I was like, "Oh, we have to get a Deadpool and Wolverine photo to end this on," and we did, and he was super chill. And what I didn't notice was that he was in character because, like, in the picture, because my
Middle
pose,
finger.
my pose that I was doing was, um, I've got these claws that I've shown you before.
Yeah.
I held those in like a cross pattern in front of my chest, like pointing upwards.
Can I
And
guess? He did the same with his two middle fingers, didn't he?
yeah, that's exactly what he did.
Yes.
He copied my pose, but he just double middle fingered.
That's great.
And the thing is, it was my 16-year-old sister taking the picture. So he was basically flipping off my sister.
Damn. You should have fought him like in the movie. Get into a Deadpool Wolverine brawl.
I stabbed him in the thigh.
Yeah.
What do you mean, if?
God's greatest joke that you can't die.
And that's on all of us. But how do we end this one off? Are we doing the regular
We'll just do It's
morphin
Morphin
thing?
time. We don't have to do
Yeah.
I have the one who knocks. We'll do It's Morphin time. Okay. Until
On
next
our
time,
own three.
folks. Until next time, folks. We're morphin out of here.
It's
It's
morphin
morphin
time.
time.